Hi, my name is Chloe. Actually, I've been studied medicine outside of the US and especially in a country from the Dominican Republic. Today, guys, I'm gonna talk a little bit about disease which is affecting most people in the world. Not specifically in the US, but actually in different part of the world. But because of we have a higher tendency in the US to have more people affected because of because of what actually the fast food and everything, because we know in the US we are in the industrial country, and people have tendency just to actually do what we call a very high consumption of fast food. And talking about atherosclerosis, I would like, before anything, just make a difference between artery, vein, capillaries, and venule, and also arterial. And we have different blood vessel, different size, and both of them have specific function. Talking about arteries has formation, has for specific goal to carry actually oxygenated blood from the heart into the rest of the body. Actually, that's the way actually we have tissue in our body nourish because of artery carrying different to different part of the body nutrient, which is oxygen. Also, we have an interesting part, which is the vein. The vein actually in the opposite uh, carry deoxygenated blood from where, from the tissue to the rest to the heart, and bring that specific blood to the heart. It's like in opposite, both has for different function. It's like the are blood vessels, but they carry different different one carry oxygenated blood, another carry deoxygenated blood. And also the same way, there is part where actually an artery will not be able to reach. It's the same thing. We have different branch, different smaller part, which is the capillary, and this is what we call arterial. Arterial is bigger than the capillary, and capillary is smaller. I mean, imagine, guys, you have different part, different your tools and different organ, smaller, which an artery will not be able. Just if you can consider you have a garden, you have a big house. That's why you have smaller branch. If you wanna actually in the morning get a water all over the garden, that's the same idea happen with your artery. Artery will not be able just to irrigate all the part of the body. That's why we have smaller branch, which is arterial and capillaries. The same thing, the smaller part for a vein, which is the venule. And remember, I said both of them has different abilities. One carry oxygen from the heart to the rest of the body, and the other one carry deoxygenated blood from the resting rest removal, rest product from the tissue, and bringing back to the heart. And we have two exceptions for that. We have the pulmonary artery. That's the only artery which is carry deoxygenated blood. And also we only have one leaf vein, which is carry oxygenated blood. That's only the exception we have, which is the pulmonary vein. Okay, now talking a little bit about what our subject, which is atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis, guys, is remember I said we have the artery, which is mainly has for function or formation as a blood vessel to blood flow circulation. And for any reason, if you have anything that's obstruct, I mean cause an occlusion, and it's gonna be very difficult for blood to reach specific part of the different organ. And specifically, atherosclerosis attacks mainly, uh, if it is not treated, it gonna cause some of the heart problem in the future. Because when you have Remember guys, the heart actually has formation to pump constantly blood, and one of those artery, which is the coronary artery, when those arteries are black, and necessary when they black because we have actually a big amount of depot of cholesterol. And cholesterol, remember, we produce cholesterol constantly from the liver. And also we have protein, which is the we have, remember, we have two types of cholesterol. We have the bad one, which usually is illustrated by LDL, which is low density of lipoprotein, is a specific protein that's have for function just to carry the cholesterol. And also we have the good one most of the time, which is the high density of lipoprotein. Anytime we have the high density, which is very good, which is this lipoprotein help the circulation of the cholesterol. And if you see, guys, we have an artery. I'm not gonna go over histologically what happened with the artery. If you guys can have an idea right there, this is an artery, this is the lumen of an artery. What happened right there, sometimes you can see little plaque. This is yellow plaque, this is fat or grease or lipid, whatever we're gonna call it. When those plaque has actually formed right there, this is a fatty material deposit from there, from the wall of the artery. It's gonna block the artery and causing what? Decrease of the blood flow. Anytime we have decrease of the blood flow, we're gonna be suffering. Organ, tissue gonna be suffering. Mostly, it's happening in the heart. We're not gonna talk about some of the coronary artery disease right now, and we're just gonna go as a prevention what you guys supposed to do, what you're supposed to eat. Actually, that can reduce the risk factor for you not to have suffering in the future of some of the heart problems. And if you see right there, you have a big accumulation of plaque of cholesterol, and necessarily it's caused by what you eat in your diet frequently. What you eat could be the bad fat, the bad lipid or grease. It's bad for your artery. And when you have actually you have you can have right there, you see you have a small deposit of what we call fat. And what happened, your body actually have a mechanism. Anytime there is something strange inside of your body, and your body gonna send what we call some macrophage to destroy this part. And sometime, and it's can recognize this part specifically as a foreign body. and we're not gonna go over what we call inflammatory process. And also, part of the breakdown of this fat from the macrophage can circulate inside of the blood vessel, causing what we call a embolism, thromboembolism sometime. This is actually what we have right there, a big accumulation of fat or grease, whatever we're gonna call it. We're gonna go try to talk about what causes atherosclerosis, some risk factor. Actually, the age, the genders, and also the risk factor, hereditary factor, which is gonna be family history of what we call atherosclerosis. And obesity is another factor, risk factor. Actually, the age, and they see a newborn, they see lining of cholesterol. There is different theory that explain and sometimes we born with what we call little plaque of lining of cholesterol, and sometimes depending on the habits you have and the lifestyle you have, that can do a very contribution to what we call to develop in the future a big accumulation what you actually eat. And most of the time, guys, I'm gonna talk to you about most of prevention, because the best therapy is prevention. There's different tests, different procedure just to do the diagnostic of somebody who have atherosclerosis. And blood test is one of the CBC, a complete blood count, where you can find we have a big accumulation of the elevation of the LDL. This is a sign that you have a very elevated you have high cholesterol. And also they can do like an angiogram for you. It's like more expensive study just to check on what's going on with your body.